Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Tom.
And this is the Park Bench.
And you may have seen, you may not, given the viewing figures, but you may have seen that the bonus material for this week's episode of Citation Needed involved Hovercraft.
And before we go on, I'll just mention the background noise is because this isn't a real bench in a real outside Christmassy scene. We're actually in the YouTube space. We're doing a cop-out bench because there's a bench here and it's really cold outside.
It's cold and it's rainy and it's terrible. So while what you can see is this lovely Christmas grotto here, if I just swing the camera around here, not trip over the tripod, as soon as we lose...
as soon as... you walk out there, you can just see sort of a mildly themed cafe.
This bench. Do you sit down on it?
Oh, no, I don't want this to break.
Really? It'd be good. Good. Anyway.
Have we had enough Christmas? Hovercraft.
Look at this. This started... because you came up with a non-sequitur about Hovercraft in the middle of Citation Needed. I think I can track where your brain went from, like, you go to the Channel Islands on a ferry. Sometimes that ferry is a hovercraft. Not there, but elsewhere in the country. Let's get on a hovercraft. Am I right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to point out, that wasn't an edited together cut there. There are a lot of edit points in Citation Needed. That wasn't one. He just came out with Hovercraft.
My brain works in mysterious ways. I don't know, I just suddenly got the urge. I reminded myself that I'd never been on one. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go on one. I kind of forgot we were in the middle of Citation Needed and had an audience in front of us. I just wanted to go on Hovercraft.
And so did Gary and Chris. Like there was actually quite a cut. I think I had to cut out another callback to that later in the episode because it wasn't actually a joke or a fact. It was just them repeating that they would at some point like to go on a Hovercraft.
But he pulled through and he sorted it out for us.
Yeah. And I only realised that months later coming back to edit that episode and realising, we should do that. And it turns out you can just buy some time on a hovercraft.
Experience day kind of thing.
Yeah. So I figured, all right, well, let's do that. Booked it. Admittedly for the middle of November when it was really quite cold.
So if there's a time of the year that you want to be outside in the wind on a thing that basically increases the amount of wind, and then you're on water as well.
Yeah.
Then November, when it's really windy and considering raining is the best time to do it.
Yeah. Somehow we lucked out with the weather. It was a beautiful day. But
a bit breezy, but
yeah. So we turned up to the place which is near Cambridge. Mm-hmm. Met Gary and Chris off their train. Went. I remember the access road to this. I realise we'll get to the hovercraft later, but we're bumping along on this road past a golf course. On a potholed track in your car. You know what would have been really useful for that?
It's the kind of road that a hovercraft is designed for. Did we go anywhere near it on hovercraft? No. It was a golf course full of geese as well.
Yes, it was. I didn't know geese played golf.
No, neither did I, but they seem to be doing really well. Birdie.
Oh.
I don't know what birdie means, but I know it's a golf turn.
It's 1 under par. 2 under par would have been an eagle, 3 would have been an albatross.
So what's a goose?
If your ball bounces off it, it still counts.
Okay.
Rules of golf there.
Hovercraft.
We've prepared nothing less. This is less coherent than usual. We check in, we put on life jackets. We meet our... No, we didn't put on life jackets yet. No, not until the water bit.
We put on coats.
We put on coats,
cold.
yeah. I can't remember the name. Lee.
Lee
thank you very much.
Wandered out with us. He told me he was called Lee. The others just didn't follow me. We just went for a walk with this bloke that turned up.
Yeah. Who fortunately turned out to be the hovercraft trainer, which was good. I hadn't actually booked anything more than hovercraft experience. I just knew it was some kind of hovercraft we'd be able to pilot it. And I can't remember the model number. I know we got told it. I can't remember it.
Did we?
Yeah.
I was too busy going, hovercraft.
Yeah.
It was a little orange one.
Yes, it was.
A medium-sized orange one, I think.
Yeah. And we all got 10 minutes on land and 10 minutes on sea. Well, on lake.
All at separate times, because there was one hovercraft and we were rotating. So
And there was one Lee.
Yes, there was only one Lee. There's only one.
I did look up to see if hovercraft racing was a thing we could do. And it is. There is competitive hovercraft racing.
You have to be very good at it to be able to do that.
Yes, you do. And you have to be very good before they will let two people out in hovercrafts at the same time near each other. Because it is not a Dodgems track. It's not bumper cars.
Yeah, even though they kind of look like them with the blue
Yeah.
skirt. Blue? Black. I meant black. There was the black skirt.
I'm just getting some more snow ready just in case. It's mutually assured snow destruction here.
So we took it in turns. Lee said, "Who wants to go first?" I had said me before he had even finished the sentence.
Yes.
So he stuck a helmet on me and a headset. And
Yeah, it was a wired headset. So
we had-
you were both connected to a pack he was wearing it?
yeah, he had something in his bum bag, and we
Yes.
could.
Or as
to each other.
Americans would call it, a fanny pack.
Really?
Can't do an accent. Don't know why I tried it.
Because the things are really noisy. You
Yeah.
actually needed the ear defender headset
Yeah.
things.
And you definitely need to hear Lee, because not all of us could pilot a hovercraft as well as Chris. I mean, you were pretty good, I think.
The thing he says he told us at the beginning was to do it properly. It's really hard to gesticulate when you've got a handful of.
Yeah, it is. I came off worse in that, I'll be honest. I think I mostly hit myself.
To be able to corner properly, you need to lean with it. It's sort of like riding a bike, in that, as well as turning the steering wheel, leaning into the corner will help.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps steer the arse round, because it's floating on a thing of air, so it can spin in any direction.
Yeah, we were all at some point steering right and turning right, but going sideways, as it were.
We're all just slaves to inertia. We kind of were, weren't we?
Yeah.
So we all each had a go. We did some figure of eights around a lamppost and a bin, I think.
You were pretty good at that. I nearly hit the tyres once.
You had to do an emergency
I had to
stop.
do an emergency stop, which is quite rough in that, because the emergency stop is I'm going to turn the throttle off, but the same fan is powering both the skirt and the direction.
So the way the hovercraft works is it's a plank.
It's a plank with a big fan on the
With
end.
a big fan on the back, and then a skirt around the plank. There is just some mechanical louvres,
Gubbins.
which will put like 30% of the fan's blowiness downwards and the rest of it outwards. And the downwards inflates the bag, and then you float above the bag of air.
But this means that if you need to take power off,
You-
you're also taking the skirt down a bit. That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
You're also
So if
dipping the
you-
hovercraft a bit.
So if you let go of the accelerator, you drop to the ground. And
On-
you stop.
On land, that's fine.
In water, it gets very wet very quickly.
You will float, but you'll also
Be very wet.
Yeah. For the rest of the journey, you're going to be really low in the water and getting constant spray and going at about 10% speed.
Yeah.
So, when we're on the water, full throttle all the time. Yeah.
And the other thing about emergency stops is Lee was standing behind us.
Yes.
He wasn't sitting down. He could lean left and right.
And you can see in the footage how much he's doing that, how much he's tapping us, particularly during the water run.
So if we're not leaning enough,
Yeah.
he has to lean more to do the leaning for us. If we're leaning okay, he kind of just goes with it.
Yeah. And having reviewed all the footage, me, quite a lot of leaning. You, reasonable amount of leaning. Gary, lot of leaning. Chris, Lee is standing in the back.
Arms crossed.
He's fine. Like by one wrap round the no.
By one lap round the lake.
Thank you. Chris is just absolutely nailing it every time. I'm not at all envious. Turns out Chris is good at stuff.
But if you do have to do an emergency stop and Lee's standing behind you, he will be standing on you. If
Yeah.
you don't warn him first.
Yeah. So you got your hovercraft ride. But two technically, one on land, one on water.
So we did the land bit, then we did the water bit, but we start the water bit on the land. And the thing that amazed me was the transition. So you go down a little slope, you have to do it at full throttle, and then you cross down the slope into the lake. And I was bracing for some kind of bump. There was no bump in the slightest. It was smooth as anything. And I was confused for half a second. I thought, oh wait, that's the whole point of a hovercraft.
I was expecting there to be like a little ground rush or something like that, or that feeling of, "Hurrah!"
Yeah.
No.
You just went down a bit of a hill and then you carried on as if it was all smooth. It was good fun though.
You scared some swans.
The instruction for on the lake was if there were birds in the way was to just go straight at them.
They're birds. They can fly.
If they don't fly, they can also duck. I didn't mean that, but the ducks can go underwater.
Yeah. I mean, so I know that Gary nearly decided to turn up to this in the third Doctor's outfit from Doctor Who. Because that one of those episodes had a chase scene on a hovercraft.
Right.
Because it was Doctor Who in the 70s.
Hovercraft was still cool.
Yeah, let's put him on a hovercraft. That makes no sense. No one would chase this on a hovercraft. He's got a car. Hovercraft. But that also includes a stunt where someone is run over with a hovercraft.
Huh.
And I think Gary, at some point, was hoping he'd get to do that. No.
Well, we had a good amount of time on the hovercraft.
We did.
I'm glad we did it.
We had the right amount of time
That's
on a
what I was
hovercraft.
going to say. That was just the right amount of time on a hovercraft.
Because Gary said when he came off, he was kind of...
Yeah, his hands were aching from gripping the throttle a bit.
Yeah.
If there was more to do, rather than just do laps around the lake and figure of eight around a small area, then yeah, use it to go somewhere. I was going to say have a pint, have a roast dinner, which is what we really wanted after that, and then hovercraft back again. That would be great. But it was really cold and really windy, so we were a bit ready for the warm indoors of a pub.
Is it illegal to fly a hovercraft while drunk?
I would expect so.
It's probably no, because it's drunk in charge of a motor vehicle, isn't it?
It is a motor vehicle. It has a motor and it's a vehicle.
You make an excellent point. I withdraw my objection.
What would you want? Like, you have them outside all pubs for you to get home after a night out. Pouring out of Oceania onto hovercraft
but
on the
if
way
you run
home.
someone over, they'll be okay.
Yes, but if you crash into your own house, you won't.
Fair.
Or a car. Or do you go down the pavement?
It's not bumper cars.
If you run someone over, they're only fine if they're already lying down.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay.
And if you're going at full throttle, if you go, oh, I've run someone over, then you let go, you land on them. This is taking a dark turn.
It has. Yeah, we went on a hovercraft.
We didn't kill anyone. It was fine.
We're terrible at endings lately, Matt. We should plan these things. That place also does the water jetpacks.
Ooh.
And I'm not saying that I'm going to book us all for a go in that, but I feel like I should try.
In the summer, please, in the summer.